Now, despite what you may have heard in the past, sports injuries are more than just a physical phenomenon. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had an injury before? Maybe you're suffering from one right now as we speak. If so, don't worry, you've got plenty of company. Kim Clijsters of the WTA Tour with a muscle tear, Kobe Bryant of the LA Lakers with a ruptured tendon on his shooting hand, Ryan Johnson of the Vancouver Canucks with a broken foot, and Manny Ramirez of the LA Dodgers with a strained calf. Yeah, everybody's hurting. If you thought there was something critically wrong with your physical upkeep and that you were one of the quote-unquote weak ones because you got injured, that might not necessarily be the case. So, check out this tip and get the true lowdown on sports injuries, so you don't end up beating yourself up needlessly. The truth is, almost all competitive athletes at all levels sustain injuries. And though at times it can be because of poor conditioning and not taking care of your body, the reality is it can happen to anyone, from the best of the best of the best, who work out 6 times a week, 5 hours a day, to the most casual recreational player or rookie. Oh, and guess what? They can take place anywhere. From during the most obvious and appropriate events, like training in the gym, or maybe when they're out there on the field performing in front of a huge audience, to a total freak accident and something as simple as getting up from the couch the wrong way, i.e. Greg Oden, the #1 pick of the Portland Trail Blazers a couple years back. The point is, you just never know. We're all susceptible to injury. Now, with that being the case, you might ask, why is it then that a lot of top pros may suffer the same exact ankle sprain as you, or the same back spasms as you, but they're back out there playing at the top of their game, while you are still in the bed, aching? Is it because they're in better physical shape? Sure, at times, yeah. Many of the high-level pros do tend to be somewhat more fit than you. I mean, hey, it's their job. It's their career. It's why they're making the big bucks. Is it because of the pro-like perks of having access to some of the best trainers in the world working on them day and night? Well, yeah, that definitely is a plus too. But there's actually another reason that's absolutely huge and even more critical to their recovery than the type of ice wrap that's applied or what school their therapist went to. The reason I'm talking about actually has nothing to do with the physical part at all. In fact, it's just the opposite. You see, when many club or amateur players get injured, they oftentimes look at it as just a physical thing, totally neglecting the most important part, the mental aspect of it all. Take pros like Dwight Howard of the Orlando Magic, or veteran boxer Sugar Shane Mosley. Both of these guys know that you just can't throw on an ace bandage and wait for it to get better without preparing your mind to deal with the many mental challenges that may come about during a healing period. Mental challenges? Oh yeah. When a competitive player like you is forced to sit out against your own will, it can stir up a lot of negative emotions. Here are some of the main ones. Number 1 is anger. Now, you may get angry because you're losing valuable practice time that you could be using to help you prepare for that big tournament coming up, or to get ready for that exhibition match that has a lot of bragging rights on the line. I mean, you want to get out there, but you can't, and it's so aggravating. I mean, you know that if you get out there, you put in the time, you can get that big win, but you can't because you're in the house, in the bed. Number 2, anxiety. For injured players, it's pretty easy to wind up hitting that panic button. Why? Because you start to doubt yourself and your ability to make up that extra time and be ready with the necessary game plan come match time to succeed. You're afraid, you're nervous that your game just won't match up. You're thinking about the embarrassment, the failure, all the emotional ties that are linked into it. Number 3 is denial. Say the injury doesn't seem to be improving at the rate that you'd like it to. I've seen it a million times, and I wouldn't be surprised if you did it too. You can totally flip the script and go into 100% denial about the whole injury thing altogether. Chances are, you'll pretend that you're fully healed when you're not, and you'll attempt to play anyway, thus extending the downtime even more and increasing the possibility of a re-injury to occur. Not good things. Both not good things, but you're doing it because you want it so bad. You know, it's just like when you're going to work. You say, oh, I can do it, I'm not sick, because you have to meet that deadline, you have to get that project done. Then what happens? You go out there, you have 50% in the tank, and you look lousy, and you perform lousy. And let's just hope you keep your job. Number 4 is depression. Why would you get depressed? Because you can't follow through and complete your normal daily routine. You know, say if you play with the guys or gals after work or after school. Plain and simple, you're not having the fun that comes along with playing this beautiful game. I mean, tennis rocks, doesn't it? But not as much if you're in your room with your arm or leg in a sling. So you see, without being steady between your ears and not knowing the tools to combat these negative feelings, it can make recovering from an injury 100 times as difficult. So, prevent this from happening to you. All right? Check out these 3 tennis mind strategies that the pros use that are sure to make your off time a lot more manageable, and it'll help you see to it that you get back to an athletic and healthy lifestyle without going completely bonkers, okay, or insane. Number 1, understand your injury, okay? Eliminate the ignorance and you'll gain control. The very first thing that you need to do after sustaining an injury is to immediately go see the doctor for an evaluation. What? The doctor? Yeah, the doctor. And depending on the location of your injury, it would be wise to even go to a specialist. Now, I know a lot of athletes, and even regular people in general, hate going to see the man with the stethoscope. Why? They fear that they might get some bad news. They say something like, I don't want it to be something serious. Now, I'm telling you, though a lot of people do this, you need to get over this fear. Why? Because, hey, if it's broken, and nobody tells you it's broken, and it is broken, how will you know it's broken? What a great line, right? From one of my favorite episodes of my favorite show, The Cosby Show. Now, true, that was a funny line, but it couldn't be more right on the money. You want to find out as much about your injury as possible, and as early as possible. So, do the doctor thing. It'll help you in 2 very important ways. 1, it can help you understand the severity of your injury, and just might help you prevent such an injury from happening to you again in the future. A big plus. And 2, you'll also understand all the limitations and all the restrictions that you have as a result of that injury. And number 2, you'll also understand all the limitations and all the restrictions of your particular injury. Okay, that's why you always see guys like Lakers center Andrew Bynum, who's always injured, immediately head over to the X-ray booth to get an MRI immediately following it happening. No more than an hour after the injury is sustained. You know, ideally, you like to get in there immediately, okay, right afterwards. It's super duper important for you to get that diagnosis ASAP. If you don't know those things, you could unknowingly be doing something that could cause even more damage to the injured area and lead to a situation which you might not be able to play tennis ever again. Yeah, ever. Ouch. That hurts more than the injury, I know. Now, that's the physical side, okay, but the mental side also plays a huge part as well. You see, when we don't have a clue as to what's going on with ourselves and our bodies, we always feel a bit apprehensive, nervous. And let me tell you, my friend, that alone can add a heap load of unnecessary pressure to your already stressed mind state that you don't want. So, like the quote by Marie Curie, now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. Once you get a better understanding of what the injury actually entails, like how long you'll be out, the do's and don'ts of an athlete with that kind of injury, what you should expect to see and feel during the rehab process, the signs that are showing if you're worsening or improving, these will greatly help you gain a better sense of control over the situation, okay? And you'll be a lot less anxious and not nearly as worried because of it, okay? And thus heal a heck of a lot quicker. Number 2, open up. Tear down your wall. Now, the truth is, a lot of tennis players really do struggle with this one. Because you see, when injured, our first reaction is to what? Exactly, close up and go into our shell like a turtle, or put our face in the ground like an ostrich. Why? We don't want anyone to see us injured. Why? Because we think we'll be looked at as weak. Okay, and no competitive player wants to feel pitied upon or looked at as the only one in the group that can't survive or hold their own. So, we completely shut down. I mean, it's the same thing when you're sad, you get emotional, you're crying, maybe you had a bad hair day, things aren't particularly perfect or the way that you'd like them to be. You're portraying something other than your best. Okay, it's the same thing here. We don't want anyone to see us unless we're our 100% or what we perceive is our 100%. So, that said, when we do completely shut down, what do? We go into complete and total isolation. We remain indoors and don't talk to anyone or see anyone until we're fully healed. Good idea? Not at all. Big mistake. All this does is make the recovery process a lot more stressful and a lot more painful. I mean, hey, why do you think for punishment in prisons they send the worst ones to what's known as solitary confinement, aka the hole? A place where there's nobody to talk to, nobody to interact with, nothing to see. It's horrible. I mean, many go crazy, or at the very least, develop severe mental issues before the end of the first week. You don't want to treat yourself like you're a prisoner at San Quentin. Because when you add that kind of unnecessary stress and discomfort, it not only affects you mentally, which is horrible, but it can also cause the physical healing process to slow down. Yeah, so you're out for even more time. So instead, open up, okay? Come out of your shell. Between your treatment and rest sessions, get out there and socialize. Interacting with your teammates and your friends will help lighten your mood, and you'll be smiling a whole lot more. And as a matter of fact, we've already covered how much smiling can help your confidence as well as your overall performance in a previous tip. I'm telling you, socializing with your friends and your hitting buddies is a great place to let it all hang out. Let your hitting partners know about the injury. Okay? Go ahead and vent. All right? Express how you're feeling inside. They're there for you. All right? They're your support group. They only want the best for you, despite what they may say about you, when you're in a heated match against them. Okay? So, release the pent-up anger, frustration, and doubt that's been swarming around in your mind since the injury first took place. Not only that, but just by going out there and maybe mildly going through some swinging motions and the other things you normally do, you might actually find some movements that don't stress that part of the body that much. Ones that you could work on to help keep your form and rhythm in place without re-aggravating your injury. Okay, but if you never went out there, you'd never know, and you'd be a lot further behind. Now, depending on your injury, if it's too bad, if it's too severe, you can't get out there and swing the racket, you can learn and get better by simply observing. Yeah, observe the mistakes of your partners and your hitting buddies until you're able to play again, okay, and correct your own movements when you get back to the court. Case in point, I saw Luke Walton of the LA Lakers do this when he had a pinched nerve in his back. What he did was, he sat with the coaching staff and paid extra close attention to things like the team's ball movement, execution, spacing, and even how to avoid getting costly foul calls. He said it made him a much smarter player, and when he got back from injury, he said he was a heck of a lot better. And it showed when he got in the game. Number 3, get goal-oriented. Don't just sit there waiting. Waiting without any sort of mental schedule or timetable can drive a tennis player mad. You need something to hang your hopes on and to get you in a positive frame of mind. Okay? Your mind needs something specific to latch on to. Remember how you used to set performance goals for yourself in practice sessions before getting injured? Well, while you're unable to play or practice physically, you have to do the same thing and set recovery goals. Okay? In order to make sure that you're on the right track, you must set mental benchmarks for yourself. Think about things you'd like to see happen to show yourself you're getting better. Once you've got those in mind, write them down and then prioritize them. Make sure to keep track of every step you take along the way to achieving those goals. This will help you monitor all of your improvement. It'll open your eyes and make you realize that you really are going somewhere in your recovery process, and you're really on the way to getting better. The last thing you want is to feel stuck, like nothing's happening. You're working hard in those physical therapy sessions to see what? Results, exactly. Once you start to see that you are improving and what you're doing is working, you'll feel a lot more confident and everything will be getting a lot easier. And the best part? You'll be out there whipping on your opponent just like old times in no time. Try these 3 strategies out the next time you get bitten by the injury bug. Knock on wood. Let me know what you thought of this tip, guys. Leave a comment, question, anything down in the comment box below. I'd love to hear from you. All right, have a great week and an even better game. And don't get injured.